Hello, pharmacy practice students. The first type of question that we are going to be researching is a product information question. So I'm going to start off orienting you to what a product info question is, the types of things that are covered under that, and then give you some practice trying to find that type of information in the big three compendia. So on the left here, you can see various subcategories of product information that you will find in compendia. They include things about the chemical nature of the drug, like its pharmacologic category, the different names that it is known by, and also how you can pronounce those names. Linked kind of with pharmacologic category is the mechanism of action, or how the drug works to have its therapeutic effect, but also can be used to help predict some of the adverse effects that are likely an extension of its pharmacologic action. Additionally, a subcategory of product information, sometimes it's considered a category of its own, but for our purposes we will include it here because it ties with other information you'll be learning this first year of pharmacy school, are the pharmacokinetics and the pharmacodynamics of the drug. So how the drug is handled by the body and also the extended effects that it has on the body. We will take a look at how you find out what products are on the market, their unique identifiers, which includes a NDC number and an identification imprint that is on a lot of solid dosage forms. We'll talk about the different types and forms of drugs that are available for the same generic entity. So for example, some drugs come as a transdermal patch and an oral tablet and an oral capsule, and perhaps even a rectal formulation. We'll look at where you can find about inactive ingredients. Sometimes our patients will have an allergy to something like a dye, or they are intolerant of lactose, and so they'll ask if those ingredients are in their pills, for example. We can find information about roughly what the drug costs to the pharmacy to purchase it. And then finally, the last two things have to deal with storage and stability, and also information about the drug's approval through the FDA and whether there are generic drugs available. So these are the large categories. I'm going to reveal this next section here, and you might want to pause the video just to read through. These are some examples of how these product categories translate into types of questions that you will get in a community pharmacy. So let's practice looking up some information. This will get you started, and then there's an activity sheet that you'll complete on your own before coming to the synchronous session. So to complete the activity, you'll want to navigate to the library databases page and open each of the big three compendia that was shown to you in the previous video. You may also want to have open a resource that I've posted, which will help guide you through. It's kind of a lookup feature telling you which section, once you're in one of those compendia, to find certain types of answers that are related to the product information list you just saw. This is that resource I mentioned that you might want to have open. So you can see over here is the product information category. And then for each of the different compendia, the big three, it lists what that topic is titled in the outline nav, which we will look at in just a moment. You'll notice that most of the things are in black font, but there's a couple things that are in brown font. And basically most compendia are set up as a monograph, or kind of an outline format of contents of information under these types of headers. But within our compendia, there are a couple things that don't fall uniquely within the monograph. They're instead in a navigation ribbon or a link out to another page. So I've just tried to highlight to you in brown the things that aren't in the monograph per se, that you may have to link out to or navigate elsewhere outside of the monograph to find. So let's get those three big compendia open. Again, you're going to go to the Pharmacy Databases section, and you can just open a separate window for facts and comparisons, for LexiComp, and for Micromedics. Go ahead and get those open and then pause and we will do the next section together. So with each of those 3 databases open and your resource list to help guide you, we are going to search for information across all 3 compendia for the same drug so that we can contrast and compare what information is available. So you're going to be typing into the main search bar tolterodine. Tartrate is the salt form. You could put in that specifically, but I find these compendia work best if you just put the main generic name and not necessarily the salt form. You'll still reveal the results that you want. So in the next slide, after you get all of those resources open, will be a list of 5 questions. I'd like you to choose at least 2 of them and then pause the video and do your research. It's important that when you look at the question, I want you to look for that same information in each of the 3 different compendia and write down what you find. Just to get you going, I'm going to show you the main search function in each of these. So here I am in facts and comparisons. I'm just going to put in tolterodine in this main search. You can see it already puts up for me some common options. And this is helpful in case I've mistyped something. It's smart enough to put in the correct wording, but I'm going to choose the most general option. It's going to drop me into, as you can see, I'm on the monograph tab. So here is that navigation, and you can follow it in outline or you can expand the outline automatically. The other piece that you'll notice is on your resource guide is this product list tab. This is where it shows you all of the various forms and manufacturers of the product tolterodine. And over here, there's even more information. So for example, this 2 milligram extended release capsule, if I click on view, it shows me all of the companies that make it. It even shows me a little picture of it. And if I click on the more detailed information, if I know my generic capsule comes from Teva Pharmaceuticals, if I click on here, I can get even more detail in a closer up picture. It tells me, for example, what its imprint code is here. It tells me some of the inactive ingredients that are in it, like cornstarch and FD&C Food and Drug Yellow number 10. And I can also see that it is a prescription product and it has a bioequivalence or generic rating of AB, which you will learn about a bit later. LexiComp has a very similar looking search screen because LexiComp actually recently bought Facts and Comparisons, but they are still have some distinct information in them, which is why we're searching both. So now you'll see one thing that's immediately different from what we saw in Facts and Comparisons is there's multiple results here. And that's because Facts and Comparisons is more of a standalone product, whereas LexiComp Online has a variety of products in it. The one we're most interested in is the one at the top called Lexi Drugs. But you can see there's other things you could search on that are more specific to pediatric patients, geriatric patients, etc. But for most of the time when your pharmacist says look in LexiComp, they really mean Lexi Drugs. Similar layout with the outline here, but some of the wording is slightly different. And again, monograph is the main way to find your information, but they do have a similar section they call images, which shows you a snapshot of each of the products. In this one, it's not incredibly obvious because it's just in light print here. But if you do click on that product that you're interested in, it brings up a short image profile like we saw for Facts and Comparisons. The final compendia is IBM's Micromedics. Similar to Lexi that we saw, it has multiple resources built within it. And so the best way to search it is to use this integrated keyword search here. And again, we would just put in part of our drug name. You can see already it's suggesting to me different things. If I knew specifically I just wanted to look at dosing, I could go there directly. But what I'm suggesting to you when you're starting to do all your searching to choose the most general option. So now we are in a section of Micromedics called Drug Decks, which is not readily apparent, but that is where you are. And it consists of 2 kind of data sets. One is the quick answers, just like it sounds. The other has more in-depth information, and so I usually choose to look in in-depth answers. And it has a lot of hyperlinks within it, so it will refer me back to where I need to go. And again, it's set up in a nav system here on the left, where you can click directly to what you want to get to the section you're interested in. So for example, if we wanted to know about how the drug is supplied, you can see here it says that's not in in-depth answers, but it refers me to the right section automatically. And here I can see that basically tolterodine comes as a capsule or a tablet, and it comes in either an extended release form, which means it has long action, you don't have to take it as often, or by default, if it doesn't say it's extended release, that's called immediate release, meaning that as soon as the drug is absorbed, it's in the system. It's not a slow release product. So now that you have those databases open and you could type in your tolterodine into each of them, you can proceed to choosing your questions on the next slide, which I'm going to show you, so you may want to pause when that comes up. I've also downloaded the questions as a Word document for you in this section so that you can use it as a worksheet. And here are the 5 questions. You can see one of them has to do with drug class, one has to do with storage and stability, one has to do with pharmacokinetics, one has to do with a type of product or naming of product, and the final one has to do with pricing. So go ahead and pause here and use your worksheet, choosing 2 questions and researching it across all 3 databases. Spoiler alert, the answers are coming up on the next slide. And again, we will be discussing them more in class afterwards. So you may want to pause here so that you can compare your answers against these, and they'll be more fully explained when we get together in class. During our synchronous session, I will provide you some takeaways for each of the questions researched, and also we'll do a quick show and tell so I can show you how I navigated to find the information. Have fun searching.